The jungle is a wild and unspoiled place where you can connect with nature in its purest form. However, this beautiful and fascinating place can also be dangerous and unpredictable. Therefore, learning how to survive in the jungle is the first step before you can enjoy it. The jungle landscape is very attractive, with all its intense colors and the great biodiversity it harbors. But such natural beauty also harbors great dangers for human life. Would we be able to survive in the jungle after spending so many years trapped in urban environments? Surely, these 5 tips will help us know how to survive in nature in its purest state. So, old sports, this is EdDevelop, where you will find the best curiosities and facts on YouTube. I invite you to subscribe and activate the notification bell to make your day much better every time we upload a new video. If you want to actively help us grow, old sport, consider our Patreon. Find the link below in the description. I assure you it will be one of the best decisions you'll ever make. Now, it is time for the fun part. Have you ever thought about what you would do if you were lost in the wilderness? Probably the most important lesson for surviving in an unfamiliar area is to familiarize yourself with it. Study the terrain, environment, and wildlife of any new area before you go. Let people know where you will be and how long you will be there. And bring the equipment you need for the trip and for any emergencies that may arise. With these tips, old sports, hopefully you'll never have to drink your own pee. How should you prepare for your trip before you leave home? There are many ways to plan a trip in the countryside. You can go to a campground or take the more adventurous option and camp in the middle of the woods. The more adventure you seek, the more important it is to come prepared with a few survival skills. Are you ready? Here's what you need to know before you head out. Plan your route ahead of time. This way, you will know what options you have, whether you will have easy access to food or drinking water, what your special needs will be for sleeping, and so on. Choose footwear appropriate for the terrain. If you will be walking for many hours, try to wear comfortable and flexible boots with an outsole that provides traction on rocky or sandy trails. Check the weather forecast and wear appropriate clothing. If you are going on a multi-day trip in the summer, do not forget to pack an umbrella in your backpack. It will protect you from the cold and rain and will not take up too much space. Don't forget sunscreen and mosquito repellent. If you are outdoors all day, you will be constantly exposed to the sun. Use adequate sunscreen and reapply throughout the day, regardless of the weather. If this is an area with high humidity, you will also appreciate the use of insect repellent. Plan areas where you can find drinking water and make sure you carry enough. Staying hydrated outdoors is essential to avoid heat stroke or sunstroke. All of these recommendations are important for a rural outing, whether alone or accompanied, but it may happen that the plan does not go as expected. Imagine that you are on a routine hike, but you decide to take a different road to see new scenery. But you didn't take into account that it would start to rain, and with the rain, you would get lost on the way back. Now, you are in a completely rural area with wild animals and no roads to guide you. What would you be willing to do to survive? You have no idea, do you? Don't worry, old sport. That's what we're here for. We're always thinking of you. But before we give you these tips on how to survive in the wild and not die trying, I invite you to like this video and share it with someone who loves adventure. Keep mosquitoes away at all costs. Many people imagine that wild animal attacks are one of the biggest threats in a natural environment, but they are wrong. In reality, escaping mosquito bites unscathed is much more complex. You can't even imagine what a mosquito bite can do. These insects are abundant in tropical regions and can transmit numerous diseases, including dengue fever and malaria. Therefore, the first tip for surviving in the jungle is to always use a repellent and wear light clothing that covers your arms and legs. In extreme cases, some people rub their bodies with mud to repel any animal or mosquito that is attracted by their natural scent. Could you do that? That's why we advise you not to go hiking in the jungle, mountains, or other rural areas without the company of an expert. Want to know more about mosquitoes? Then check out this video I'm leaving here about the bloodiest mosquitoes. Take care of your injuries. If you are not used to hiking on natural trails, injuries are common. The biggest problem is that in warm and humid environments, pathogenic microorganisms are more likely to thrive. This increases the risk of wounds becoming contaminated and leading to infection. In addition to preventing injuries, remember to clean wounds thoroughly several times a day to prevent the accumulation of contaminants. Good hygiene habits are essential for survival in the jungle. If not, imagine an infected wound full of not-so-hygienic fluids that will lead to a stronger infection that will produce fever and worsen your symptoms to the point of death. No, old sport, you don't want that, do you? That's why we recommend that you follow these tips to the letter. Watch your movements. Almost everyone is surprised to learn that the main cause of death in the jungle are not related to disease or ferocious attacks by wild predators. On the contrary, you are much more likely to die from drowning, being accidentally wounded by a machete, or being crushed by a tree. Therefore, an essential tip for survival in the jungle is to watch your every move. Remember that this is an unpredictable environment, and your senses will be your greatest allies in avoiding accidents. Also, always use the marked trails to avoid getting lost. Always be one step ahead of your footsteps. Think of all possibilities, and consider the abilities of your body and what it can do. Do not try harder than you can, or you may end up hurting yourself. Avoid overexposure to heat. We know the heat can be desperate. Now imagine being exposed all the time with nothing to protect you. No doubt, not pleasant at all. While the heat allows for the development of incredible rainforests, it also poses certain risks to our health. Excessive exposure to the sun can lead to sunburn and sunstroke. Not to mention, high temperatures make it easier for the body to become dehydrated. Sunscreen is a must when traveling to tropical regions, as are hats or caps. Also, avoid exposing yourself to the sun during the hours of the day when it is strongest. To keep your body well hydrated, try to drink at least 2 liters of water a day if you have the opportunity, and think of your sunscreen as an extra member of your body. Never forget it. Don't sleep close to the floor. In addition to microorganisms, you run the risk of being surprised by snakes, spiders, scorpions, and other species when you sleep on the floor. Not very pleasant, is it? Hammocks are the most practical, effective, and economical alternatives for safe sleeping. And if you are not lucky enough to have one, try sleeping in places where there is not much vegetation or where you are not exposed to the ground. 95% of survival is mental attitude. Look on the bright side and stay focused. Learn to use the reticular activation system. Use your senses to guide you in any situation. Trust yourself. Don't let insecurities get the best of you. To survive in the jungle, it is necessary to be aware of many factors and to be conscious at every step. Before embarking on this adventure, it is best to be well informed about the destination in order to be prepared. Knowledge of first aid and wilderness survival techniques will also be very useful. Now, we're relieved that you have these tips so that you never have to go through bad times. It is up to you to take them into account. Let us know in the comments what your favorite tip was, or if you used any of them. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Let us know what you think in the comments, and tell us what experiences you've had with this, or what topic you'd like us to cover in a future video. Old sports, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. See you next time.